Evening, folks. Thanks for coming in. It's our first live, and I think it's a couple of weeks now. I don't know, something like that. It's been a wee while anyway. But it's good to be live, basically. As you can see, I do have a backdrop tonight because I could not be annoyed putting it up. So that's it. I think the last time I used it, it collapsed on me during the live. It was one of the moments you saw it going. And I think Rigger was that, and I says to Rigger, that backdrop's falling in it, and he's like, aye. And that was it, gone. But tonight we have Liam over there from Highland Paranormal, and one of his co-colleagues down there, Lindsay from Highland Paranormal. Evening, Facebook user. Now, we spoke to Liam and evidently we spoke to Lindsay, which I forgot about actually, but shh, don't tell her.
I'm easily forgettable, to be fair.
Oh, no, I wouldn't say that, dog. I wouldn't go that far, We spoke to him, and I was in his house a couple of weeks ago. Just as well, he was at work at the time, so he didn't even notice his Lego going missing.
That's where it went.
Oh, it's your other half, and Lindsay's buggered off already. She's all right. Evening, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Lindsay's gone.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm back. I don't know what happened.
Right, he's Scotty to Hottie. How's it going? Alan from Beyond. Hey, Alan, buddy. It's not too shabby. Not too shabby, buddy. And there's our lovely Laura in. So we were up in Inverness about 2 weeks ago. Something like that. I was about that. And Sarah's fell in love with your city, by the way. She's totally besotted with Inverness. And I actually got a parking ticket the other day. I got a screenshot and sent it to Liam. £100 parking fine for going to Starbucks for a Margarito or whatever you call it, Macchiato. I couldn't believe it. No, the coffee was nice, but £100 parking. We were only there. We were there 14 minutes as well. And we got us there. So that went in the usual place, that get filed in.
Same place most Indonesians put it. Yeah.
Aye. The letters you get for these companies that you've never heard in your life, you owe us X amount from, 1947 and stuff like that. That's going in. That's filed under B for bin or S for see you later, basically. Or N for no chance at all. But we actually get one 2 years ago. Sarah's over there, by the way, so I'm not talking to myself, actually. There is a person over there. We went to Nottingham to investigate with GSI, and we were coming back, and I stopped at Southway, and we had a wee nap, and it turned out we got a parking fine because we stayed over there 2 hours. And I go, no, you're charging for sleeping there. No chance. But anyway, that was just a wee ramble, folks. I do apologise. Hi, Facebook users. Oh, there's Eric's better half in. There's the gaffer in. Hi, Facebook users. Is the skull still working, Liam?
It is indeed. I've got it here, actually. It's not got batteries in it, but I'll show you this wonderful gift we got from Eric. It's a REM pod. And when you come up in a few weeks, Scott, we will definitely take... I want to call him... I think I'm going to call him Eric, actually.
You should, in honour of...
So we'll take Eric with us and we'll take him out.
It's like the Frank's box. We can have the Eric skull.
We've got Eric's skull,
Let's make it trend.
Yeah. I think you should in honour of its creator.
Indeed.
Basically.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Eric's skull.
Oh, it's you. Thank you, Eric. I think that's your good lady, Liam.
Yeah.
I don't know why her name's not coming up. It decorates our flat well. Aye, that's your good lady. So Eric says, thanks, mate. So what's been happening? What have you been up to? I know it's only 2 weeks since I saw you, but, a lot can happen in 2 weeks. I mean,
it's been quite a quiet start to the year, actually, for us. We've done some private cases. Upset a few people, and we always, we pride ourselves in the fact that we tell it how it is. We're not going to go in and make things up. and whatnot. And we work on, obviously trying to debunk and trying to come up with logical explanations. And unfortunately, some people don't like that. I've had a few interesting conversations. But yeah, just now starting to kind of ramp things up for the year. So we had a team meet on Wednesday, and we've got some good locations starting to drop in. I haven't even spoken to Lindsay, but I think we've got about 2 or 3 that have come in since Wednesday, or ones we followed up with since Wednesday, and they're good to go. So we're going to be busy over the next couple of months for sure. And we're going back to Pool House. Pool House sold out overnight, so that's good. So that's a wonderful place over on the West Coast that we go. And we're really excited because this year they've actually got a Mary Queen of Scots exhibition on.
Right, aye.
And they're going to have things. I believe they've got a lock of her hair. I believe they may even have the axe or the alleged axe that lobbed her head off. So hopefully we will get a chance to do something with one of these items when we're there and with guests as well. So really excited for that. And the house has got links to the Titanic. And again, we've got they've got a guest, John White, who's actually the guy who owns the Mary Queen of Scots artifacts. He's also chief executive of White Star Collectibles, who basically collect and sell Titanic memorabilia. So he's excited to come across because we've got one of the rooms there now, which is basically dubbed the Titanic room because of the activity that takes place in it. So yeah, really looking forward to that. But first of all, we've got you up. So when you come up, we'll do something with you.
To see any dolphins, know what I mean? So Liam says he's.
You need to go on a dolphin cruise. That is the best way to see it. I'm not saying you're guaranteed, but they love to come in the swell of the boats. So that would be my recommendation, to try and see them.
We went to, I'm going to get the name wrong, but I'm going to get a go anyway. Shannonry. Aye, that place there.
Point.
Like what you just said. We went there and nothing. Got some nice photos. It's a beautiful spot. Got some nice photos and what have you. And then we went over to Nairn Harbour. I think Linda says to try Nairn Harbour. So we were now there and we sat at Nairn Harbour. Not a dolphin inside. Mind you, Nairn had the tide was out, so that might have had something to do with it. I think we sat for a wee while and then we noticed that the water wasn't right up. Thought, well, hold on. Maybe we just came at the kind of wrong time, do you know what I mean? But Shanori, there you go. Shanori, that place, aye. Thanks, Logs, for that. Evening Facebook user. Just what you're saying, Liam, about the alleged acts that executed Mary Queen of Scots. Sarah's a big Mary Queen of Scots fan. And it's amazing when you get these objects. It's the Tower of London as well. I've been there a few times, and one of the displays is the block and the axe that they said was used during the reign of Henry VIII to execute thousands of people. As we know, Henry VIII was responsible for between 70,000 and 72,000 people being executed. Most were beheaded. But this block is spotless. And I know there's probably ways of cleaning these things, but you think if it's seen that many heads in its time, there'd be a wee bit, it looks like she's been bought at B&M or something. The axe as well, gleaming, so you don't want to doubt it, but it does make you kind of think, is it really the actual instrument that was used to carry out the deed? Eric was saying that's just the way it is. Can't make stuff up to satisfy. With all of your private investigations, you get the great feedback from.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, most of our investigations, we get really, really good feedback, and people get what they want. But I can understand to a certain extent that people get frustrated if they if they're convinced they've got something and we come along and we either can't find anything, and that's not just because we can't find anything doesn't mean there's not something there, but when we can logically go in and explain things, it's some people react, as I said, well, they get slightly upset, shall we say, on that front. But again, we get a lot of people who are very grateful for what we do. So, thankfully we get more grateful folk than we get folk who are, getting upset about it.
You don't charge, as we said just before we came on. I don't know how I'm going to do everything and I want to do when I'm there. I'm sure you just extend your holiday, Eric. Just don't go home. Just stay. There's plenty of time to do your bits and bobs. You don't charge, so you're taking time out your day or your night, whatever, to go to these places, and it's costing you fuel money as well, maybe something to eat. The usual bits and bobs. Make sure you pick up Lindsay in time because her timekeeping kind of problem.
Yeah.
Her timekeeping issue. And you get these other teams that charge, £400, £500, £600 and everything, and they go to some wee woman's house and say, you've got a demon. And then they leave. And the wee woman's scared boneless. She's sitting there, all night being this demon. But I think when people don't get the answer, I think they should accept what they've been told. Does that make sense?
I think you've got two camps there, though, don't you? You've got those that are desperate to have paranormal activity because they think it's interesting or cool, and then you've got people that are terrified and can't accept rational explanations, maybe because other people have filled their heads with, as you say, demons and all sorts of other nonsense. So it's really difficult because psychologically, if people are taking that information in, it's really hard to then persuade them otherwise.
Mm-hmm. I'll give you a quick example. A team that we work with doing here, they did a private house investigation, and it's people commenting on it, and there was an individual who shall remain nameless. He commented that this lady had 44 demons in her oven. Swear to God, that's what he said. And this lady believed it. And it must be a hell of a big oven to get 44 demons in a nut, because that's where they usually hide. As far as I know,
very small demons.
I think they usually hide in the oven. Maybe it's warmer or something, I don't know. But this client was saying there's 44 demons in her oven. Bless the woman believed her. And you think, Trousers and Followers would be happy to pay Liam and Lindsay. The problem is just that word demon. It's just bring your dauber for bingo, Rita. Now, in Scotland, I don't know who that is, but I will say in Scotland, the fourth word in has a completely different meaning to what you're probably talking about. I'm not going to get any details here, but anybody who's Scotch would probably understand what I'm talking about here.
Yeah, I call it a dabber for what she's talking about. We're talking about.
I think we'll go with the word dabber, Lindsay. That's a bit. Because that's a whole. I know it's after 9 o'clock, but that's a whole different show. Do you know what I mean? Demon cleaners of ovens. I maybe that's what they got up to now. What is he?
I'll tell you
after. Oh, right. Good luck explaining that one to your good lady, Liam. I'd like to be a flying. You can video call me when you do it, actually, if you want. Feel free. And just set the phone somewhere so we can give it a wee watch. Do you know what I mean? But Lindsay, you dabber, Lindsay, that's the word. Blush. I don't know who that. Can you put your name in the chat so we can laugh at you, please? The point being about the bush, or the dauber for that matter. I don't even know what it means. Well, I know the dabber means, but any idea, guys, what dabber means?
The only one I know is the bingo dabber.
Or the pen?
The pen that you dab your numbers with.
Yeah, because it says for bingo. Yeah.
No, I've never used one of the pens. I've always used the the books you get. Always amazed me. But I used to go to the bingo years in the Rolls Royce Club, and you get these women, and they buy like 10 books, and they cover the table, and I've got one wee book like that, and I find it hard to keep up, and they're up and down and up and down and up and down at the house and all the rest of it. But that's always amazed me how they could do it, and I've got one wee smudging a bit of paper with some numbers on it, and I can't keep up with the things. But I'm blabbering again for well seen and not been live for a while. Davos warfare rating, I'm an ex-Royal Navy, but a fifer.
That's like Andrew.
Right. So what were we saying? What were we talking about?
In an oven, weren't we?
Aye. I'm bet you everybody's glad they tuned in tonight, or whatever you want to call it, we talk about daubers and demons and ovens. That's because, as I did say, we don't have a subject, we don't have a topic. But I'm going to ask Lindsay, because shame on me. I thought I hadn't spoke to Lindsay before, but I was reminded that I had spoke to her before. So that's my fault, I put my hands up to that one. So I need to ask Lindsay, because I've probably forgotten, how she get started out and how she hooked up with this young man beside me.
So I've kind of always had experiences, I think, paranormal experiences since I was quite a young child. And it used to scare me, I have to say, when I was young. And then it was about maybe 8 years ago, my friend said to me, I'm going to this paranormal investigation, do you want to come? And I was like, I don't know, I'm still a bit about it. So I went. And while we were doing it, I kept picking up on stuff. So like we were in a room, for example, and I was like, we shouldn't be in here because it smelled of like tobacco, and I could like imagine like men playing cards and drinking whiskey and whatnot. And it was a group of women that were in, and it was funny because it kind of correlated. And as we went round, there was a few other sorts of things. So that kind of got me interested because I was kind of picking up on similar things to what their medium was. And then we went to another paranormal investigation on the Discovery in Dundee. And again, it was very similar, that I was kind of picking up on a lot of the same sorts of things. But my sort of first experience was when I was about, I don't know, maybe 6, 7, 8, something like that. And I was going sledging up the back of Tull Castle in Dingwall. And people were sort of waving at me from the window. So I'm waving back, and my dad's saying to me, who are you waving at? And I'm like, the people in the window. And he's like, there's nobody there. And I said, yeah, they're dressed in Victorian clothes. And I knew what Victorian clothes were because we used to have a Victorian Day at Strathpeffer. And I used to attend that dressed as a Victorian. So they were dressed in sort of similar sort of stuff as what I would wear then. So that was kind of sort of my first experience, and then my sort of first more recent experience. Then I did some investigating with some other teams, and then I have attended some of the Highland Paranormal stuff over the years, both as a guest and at their open meets. And then I think it was about 1.5 years ago that vacancies come up to join the team, so I approached them at that time, and they've been stuck with me since.
They've been stuck with me since, which actually means she's not going anywhere. That's it.
Glad to hear it.
She's no plans of quitting. But no, he's doing well with the team, and he's really professional and popular, busy. Which is a good thing. I know there's teams out there that they're after the fame and all that bollocks. You know what I mean? But you guys are just really down to earth, and you just do your own thing. And I think we need more teams like that in the paranormal. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I agree 100%, Scott. I think that is And there's some other great individuals and other great teams out there as well who, you know, have a similar philosophy, like yourself, you know, and it's good to that's the other side I really enjoy, and we want to do more of that this year, is actually go and work with other teams and learn from other teams. So that, you know, because we don't know all the answers, not at all. We know very little, you know, and I always like seeing what other teams do, and you know, steal their ideas if they're good.
All right, you poach ideas then.
Right.
But no, I mean, you're right. I mean, we get told 2-3 years ago by the same the demon guy, shall we call him, who shall remain nameless, that he watched the investigations and we were doing it wrong. You know, and thought, well, I went nuts, you know, because he actually mailed one. It was a guest who came out with us. He actually mailed himself a wee person walking in the door who should be in bed. That's a good thing about having the backdrop done, because you can see, you know, with something with the backdrop you can't see diddly squat, you know. So I just saw the wee half a body coming there. So you see, you know, he didn't arrive, but he mailed one who had guessed behind my back and said it. You know, so obviously I kind of flipped and said, if you've got something to say about me, say it to me, not about me. And say, well, how are we doing it wrong? You know, what school do you go to? What college do you go to learn how to, you know, to be an investigator? You don't. You just go out and do your own thing. You go out and do whatever feels right for you. If you're American, when I was saw it turned out to be an American Allied ghost in Belgium, and they were talking to me, becking me over in daylight. I'm not sure what that one means.
That's Andrew. He's actually told me that fascinating encounter that he had when he was young. I think it was at an old World War II camp that had been turned into, I think it maybe been open to the public, he witnessed American soldiers who would have been there during World War II. There was no American soldiers there on the day, but he saw them.
Aye, they were invited in the Nazi V1 rocket site. But back to what you were saying, Lindsay, about you could see these people in the windows waving at you. You know, you can see them physically.
Yeah.
You know, as a child, my way of thinking is, as a child, we're more open to spirit. You know, but as we get a wee bit older, you know, society, the world kind of takes over your brain. You know, and that's kind of tuned out. And it's not until you start maybe investigating again or studying the paranormal, whatever, that you kind of that barrier starts to come back down again.
Mm-hmm.
Was there ever a time where you feel that barrier came up and then it came back down?
I think for a long time I kind of closed myself off because I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to know. I didn't want invasive things going on in my life. So for a long enough, I just kind of tuned it out. But around about the time I started doing the paranormal, I sort of went to some spiritual churches. I've joined a mediumship circle, and just kind of reopened myself up to these things. But I have to say, I've never quite experienced the same as the full body apparitions. I've had shadow people in my bedroom, and that's really the only other thing that I can think of that I've actually physically seen. So to sort of see the full-bodied sort of things was really interesting, especially given that no one else could see it.
Do you think I'm no psychic or anything? I'm as psychic as that table behind me, you know. But there had been quite a few in the team, Sarah as well, thinking that I know you got picked up and stuff, but you felt strongly. You know, one time I felt that, 2 occasions I felt that there was a male. One was standing right behind me, with his kind of arms folded, watching, and I expected to turn around and see this guy standing there. But obviously I did turn around, there was nobody there. And that happened again when we were out with Spig. I had this feeling there was a guy standing in this corridor. And even though you're no psychic, do you guys think that maybe spirit picks someone to sort of reveal themselves to in whatever way they can?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I feel quite strongly about that. The way I kind of view it is that spirit, it's the same as like you like certain people when you're alive and you don't have such a good connection with other people. And I think spirit are a bit like that. They kind of like, you know, pick your personality. If they like you, they'll come and communicate with you. I'm very much somebody that I like to have a good laugh and fun while I'm doing stuff. So I like to think that helps bring spirit forward as well, you know, because you're kind of like, they want to engage because you're fun and, you know, they're interested. That's kind of how I kind of think. Well, I don't know if Liam kind of agrees or.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think certain people are like a beacon to spirit, because, you know, especially when we do events and things like that, it seems to open a door not only to spirits that may be connected to the location we're at, but to the public that are there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've had skeptics who by the end of the night are in tears because of the connections that have happened and things during that night and the questions they've asked, the responses they've got and things like that. So I think there is that. And I think the other point that Lindsay's making there about having a laugh and that, again, I don't know about you, Scott, but we get better activity when we're having a laugh. When I think the energy level's different. The energy's higher. We're relaxed. You know, I think if we're sitting around do our face trying to be extremely serious, we don't tend to get the same activity. But I think when you're having a laugh, it's a positive energy. I think there's more energy about, and I think that helps as well.
I'll just answer that in 2 seconds. I'll get these comments up first. I didn't know I was like, I'll go into the forest to the soldiers by the American military vehicles and talk to them. That's when my parents were ahead of me and apparently they could not see me, found me in the trees, and that's what I was doing. I replied about the Americans and they could not see anyone. They spoke to the Belgian staff after they were stunned. It was only them working and no one else was in sight. I mean, how do you debunk something like that? You know, you can't even let you share your imagination. You know what I mean? But no, I 100% agree. You know, you need to be. I've said this on many a show that I've watched teams, you know, go out investigating, and you just want to go and dig up your own granny, watching them, basically. Do you know what I mean? And if I was a spirit, I'd be gone. Mm-hmm. You know, I'd be glad I was dead. You know, whatever. I'd be looking for another place to haunt. You know, because I mean, these people going, is there anybody there? You know, and there's more life in the graveyard than there is in them, basically. And I think it's refreshing for spirit. You know, I'm not saying they get, but maybe they do get bored. Who knows? But I think it's refreshing if somebody comes in and they're having a laugh with respect, obviously. You know. Mm-hmm. But they're having a laugh and a joke and spirit. I quite like this guy or this lady. You know, she's quite laid back, and I'm going to go and talk to her. I'm not talking to him because he's as much fun as a digestive biscuit. He is, but I'm going to talk to this woman.
That's what everybody tells me.
Do you know what I mean?
I think we're quite lucky with our team as well because we've got a good mix of different people, different personalities, and everybody brings something slightly different to the team. And sometimes we might be out, and I can imagine some spirits are like, oh God, she doesn't shut up, we're not going to talk to her. But they might talk to someone else because they're like, yeah, you're too much for me, or, you know, and it's just that thing about like having a good sort of dynamic. And I think for us, we can be serious when we need to be. I have to try quite hard to do it, but I can. And there's usually something comes out my mouth that even surprises me in these things, so I have to be careful. But you know, in terms of like, we're always very respectful with any spirit communication as well, and it's like, you know, we would never sort of provoke or try and anger somebody. We would ask questions that might be uncomfortable sometimes, but I think it's interesting as well because like the whole thing about what attracts spirit, people are empaths. It's like if I go in a pub, guaranteed the biggest weirdo in the pub will come and talk to me. And it's that same thing about you being that beacon of light that, or if you're at the bus stop, I was on a bus one day and someone asked me if I wanted to drink her soup that had vodka in it and stuff like that. I mean, that doesn't happen to most people, but I get all of these kind of like a guy with a helmet coming on asking me if I want to go to outer space, and that's just what happens to me in with people that are alive. So you can imagine what I get from the spirit side.
So you're the guy in the helmet asked you if you wanted to go out of space, and you're the wee woman asked you if you wanted some of her vodka soup.
Yes, that's just a couple of examples.
So that's a daily kind of thing for you, Lindsay.
It's not daily, but I have to be careful because I'm quite smiley as well. So of course, if you go out and you smile at people, then they're like, "Oh, well, we want to talk to her," and then so I have to be quite careful about who I make eye contact with or smile at or whatever.
Well, she smiled. I'm going to go and stand beside her and see if she'll
tell her a weird story.
Will you be my friend? I saw you smile. I think that's illegal, isn't it, to do that kind of thing? Would you want to be my friend? But you need to be laid back and enjoy what you're doing. I mean, it's again the big word is respect. I watched one team on YouTube one night, nameless, obviously. And they were shouting and bawling for spirits, and they says, and it was one of the funniest things I've ever heard. They says, if you don't come out, I'm going to come and hunt you down. And I thought, well, how are you going to do that? How are you going to hunt them down if you can't see them, feel they rattle two bushes together or something and hope something happens? But it says, I'll come and hunt you down. And that would really scare the spirits, wouldn't it? That would really put the fear of God into them. It's just going to hunt them down. And it's things like that. It's ludicrous. Just go out, I seen a post on Facebook a few weeks ago, and it was somebody just starting out at the paranormal, and they were looking for advice. And so what's the best way to do your first investigation? And I said, well, just go out and expect nothing. And be yourself. Because to me, that's what spirit's looking for. You're just wanting a normal person to speak to, or whatever it is they want to do. Sometimes embarrassing when complete strangers tell you their life. I think that's for you, Lindsay.
Yes, I think she's saying that she's an empath and that all the weird people come and talk to her as well.
I used to get that in Glasgow, but that's Glasgow. Everybody talks to everybody in Glasgow.
Yeah.
You could talk to somebody for it's happened to that when we say it as well, about it, and people start talking to you, and I'll start talking to them, and so they'll say, who was that? Don't have a clue. Don't know, never seen the guy in my life. I
don't mind people talking to me. It depends what they're telling you. One of my favourites is Susan that had Touchwood House that sadly passed away just before Christmas. She tells a story that she was in Tesco one day and a man came rushing up to her, nudged her and threw a whole heap of blocks of cheese in her basket in Tesco and told her that she had to buy them because they were half price or something like that. And she was just like, okay. And so it's like not so much that people approach you and talk to you, it's more the things they say or they do. But again, it's all of that I think makes you this beacon. If you've got these kind of qualities that people approach you in life, that it's the same thing that you attract people in the spirit world.
You get these people in life, and some of them might be a wee bit wacky, bizarre, whatever you want to say. So I mean when their time comes, and it's their time to pass over, they'll probably still be wacky on the other side as well. You might get somebody out when you investigate somewhere and they want you to buy a block of cheese or something. It's well, what's the kind of most bizarre thing that's happened on your investigations?
Oh well, I guess bizarre, it's kind of scary. Was when we were at Jedburgh jail last year, and my team I didn't feel was getting a huge amount of activity. Some of the other teams seemed to be doing like getting loads, and I had been in cell 10, I think it is. It's the sort of infamous cell, and I came out because I was going to just see how we'd sort of split into smaller groups, and I got growled at. So that was quite interesting. And then I went in and sort of said, well, I think I've just been growled at. And then another woman, Susan, that runs the charity that we were doing the event for, she was out talking to me just before the end, and both got growled at. So that was quite good validation to know that we both kind of got growled at the same time. But yeah, that's the most kind of, I suppose, discerning thing that's happened to me.
Jedburgh, we've not done Jedburgh, we've not done that place. But I've heard a few stories about it, and just recently about the growl, and I was watching Aling Phantom Seekers.
Yes, they were there last night.
Last night, I was going to say Friday night, but this is Sunday, so and they were talking about this certain cell as well, what have you, and this presence, entity, whatever you want to call it. Why do you think that, whoever it is there was obviously a former resident, shall we say? Why do you think he sort of remains there? Sarah's there, by the way, in case you're wondering.
Hi, Sarah. I guess that's a difficult one, because I think our theory oftentimes is that people go to places that they're happy. So often when we go to like graveyards, for example, old graveyards, we wouldn't go to graveyards with recent graves, but often they can be quite quiet because we feel that people would necessarily reside somewhere that they weren't happy. So I don't know why they would still be at Jedburgh jail or these kind. I don't know what the thought is there. Why would they choose still to be there unless they're somehow trapped there in some way? I don't know.
Yeah.
Where were you, Liam?
Whether it was Inverary jail.
What did I say?
Jedburgh.
Oh, sorry, Inverary jail. Yeah, sorry.
Everything on Facebook the last couple of days has been Jedburgh. So I talked about Inverary jail. Again, we're not sure at Inverary whether we're actually dealing with a prisoner or a warden. So, because there is stories of a warden at Inverary as well, still going about his work, and he's not a pleasant character by all accounts. So, again, it could be that, but why they're there, why they want to growl. We caught a growl on audio in the same cell. Which actually we did put on Facebook because poor Richie was blamed on his stomach, and it wasn't. It came from behind me out in the hallway on that day. But it's all theories, isn't it, Scott? I mean, it's like, are they there because of something that happened to them there? So they're, some trauma happened, and they're kind of stuck. Their energy's stuck there.
Do you think that sometimes spirit can be territorial?
Yeah, definitely. We've got there's a private one we've been doing. We visited twice last year, which has a gentleman who definitely, he was not happy we were there first time around, but he kind of warmed us by the end. But people who'd been there previously didn't like the location, and there'd been various things going on. And again, but for him, it seemed to be more a case of this was his house, and it was still his house as far as he was concerned. Yeah.
Actually, I totally believe that. I mean, you also get the Covenanters prison. I think this is a prank. Now, this is just a theory of mine. And that I think is a classic example. Somebody's late to the party. Hi, Facebook user. As you know, the Covenanters prison, Greyfriars in Edinburgh, it's now locked because of all the attacks that were happening. And I think the council locked the gates in, when was it, 2000 something?
Something like that.
But there was over 3,000 reported attacks in the Covenanters prison, and they all centred around the Black Mausoleum. But the Black Mausoleum is the resting place of the Dundas family, who were a well-to-do family. You know, it had nothing to do with George Mackenzie or the Covenant, nothing to do with that. So, I mean, my theory is that it was Kyra.
Kyra.
Hi, Kyra, though. That is one of the guards. Back when it was a prison, because also back when it was a prison, the tombs weren't there.
Yeah.
It was just fields. And the guards were known to be notoriously brutal. I spoke to Jamie Christopher about this, and he sort of agreed. You know, he says, "Aye, that's very possible." I think it's a guard that's in the Covenanters. And where the Black Mausoleum is where one of the old guard huts, or whatever you like to call them, would have stood. And he still sees this as his territory, and anybody coming in is, you know, an intruder, basically, or a prisoner to him. That's just my theory. Same as you've got Mr. Boots in the vaults as well. You know, he's been reported so many times, and it is known that in life he was a bit of a bad so-and-so. And so does he still see that as his territory? And maybe that would explain why these spirits were Inverary, Jedward, these spirits are still there, because that's still their place and they don't want anybody else in it.
I think my kind of thought about Inverary as well was that they didn't like me being quite a strong character female going in. And that we find that quite a lot when we investigate. I get called all sorts of choice names on the in the audio, and it's usually aimed at me. It's just an effect I have on men in life and in death, I think. But yeah, so like oftentimes, you know, I'll get, you know, amusing things said about me, you know, in various places, and I think it's that way that you're a women, because I guess a lot of these spirits would have been alive in a time where women didn't have any power. You know, it was like they just did. So for them to have a woman coming in and questioning them and what they believe and or whatever, you know, I still try and do it in a nice way, but you know, to have that, I think sometimes that has an impact. So sometimes I find, you know, for example, if you're a women group, and so we do try and split it so that we've got a mix of male and female in both our groups, or you know, however many groups we've got. Just because we find some spirits might interact better with women, some might interact better with men, that kind of thing.
But that's possible. That, you know, obviously their fair time where women were seen as inferior, or you know, they didn't have a voice, or they had no right to speak, or you know, whatever. We all know how, you know, how women were kind of treated going back. Thank God it all changed. So maybe they're set in their ways and say, well, you're a woman, you don't belong here, I don't want you here, you shouldn't even be talking, so get out.
Yeah.
Basically. And it might not be that they're negative.
No, it's just you know, the way the rules were back then. I mean, oftentimes these things generally only happen at places like a jail or somewhere like that. You know, I mean, I think we're quite lucky as a general rule that we don't really meet any really bad spirits. I mean, we've never met a demon or, you know, anything that's been, you know,
never.
No, I think
we'll check your oven.
Yeah, but you know, it's that thing that it's like you kind of think. I think a lot of it is that you get the energy back that you put out, and if you put out, it's like, you know, put out positive energy, then oftentimes you'll draw back positive energy.
Anyway, question for you, Lindsay: do you find women spirits interact more with a female, Lindsay?
It just depends, really, because it depends. You know, you might get women that are fans of men, you know, and they don't really want to speak to women, or like, I mean, I've been on investigations before where men have reported getting their bums touched and stuff by a female spirit, you know. So it's like it really just depends. I think it is just a whole personality thing, and there's not really, in my experience, so women like women and men like men, or whatever. It's just you know, somebody might like one person and they might prefer another one, or however it works.
What about you, Liam? Sorry, Andy.
The
No,
two times
I was going to ask if you ever had your bum felt.
I haven't had my bum felt. No,
Oh.
I'm still waiting for that one. But I have been affected twice by, I've been told, female spirit. One was at Durn House in Port Soy, and it was the first time we investigated there. And I was taking a group round. We went into a room, and as soon as I went into the room, I immediately got a thumping headache. And I was like, I need to sit down. I'm in trouble here. I can't leave the room because I'm leading this event. But I don't know. At that point, I didn't know what was happening to me. And I had that feeling the whole time I was in the room. I came out of the room, I felt fine. The medium at the time said, you know, a woman attached herself to you. As soon as you went into that room, she was on you. And other people have reported things in that room to do with a female as well. I've been in that room loads of times since. It's never ever happened again. It was only that one time it happened, the first time I was there. Strathpeffer Pavilion it was a really weird experience. So went to do a walk around there. There's a balcony at one end. Went up there myself, immediately didn't feel right. Just no, don't like this at all. Kind of felt dizzy, nausea, not good. Came down, and I thought, before I leave that night, I'm going to go back up again. Went back up again, felt fine. Then we did an event there, and I think there was about 5 women, 3 men, or something like that. All the men had to leave the building. The women were fine, but all the men had to leave the building. We all had headaches. We all had nausea. We were all sitting outside for 5-10 minutes getting fresh air. Absolutely bizarre. At the end of the evening, I went back up there again to film down into the main sort of hallway, and nothing. Felt fine. But yeah, really, really bizarre. So I think, yeah, for me, that's the 2 experiences that I've had. I know that at Touchwood, there appears to be a spirit that likes to slap women on the backside in the gallery. But also there's reports of a woman who likes to trip men going down the stairs. So men seem to trip going down the stairs there as well. So yeah, it's bizarre.
The thing is, these spirits, you probably tend to go in and call these spirits negative. Like say that woman likes to trip people down the stairs. Maybe she's just a joker and she thinks that's funny. She's not really negative, but you would get these teams that go in and say, "Oh, that's a negative spirit." That's you. Stay away from that. But it's just some wee harmless woman that likes a laugh. I mean, so in life, I think I've got a sick sense of humour. I like to see people hurting themselves. I think that's funny. Basically, like walking into a window or something like that. I think it's hilarious.
I've always categorised these kinds of things as mischievous. They're just mischievous.
Aye, exactly.
If we were in their shoes, what would we do? When it's our turn, what will we do to people? When we come back. I mean, I'm not saying I'm going to trip people going down the stairs and that, but yeah, I'm going to have a bit of fun. So, winding a few people up. So, it's, and I think, there's lots of memes out there, but what do ghosts make of ghost, of ghost hunters, paranormal investigators, whatever you want to call us? I wonder what they really make of us. And they go, "Oh, here come these Egypts again, right? Let's have some fun."
But that's a good point. Say we'll use this wee woman again as an example. Maybe she's realised, wait a minute, I passed over. I'm in spirit. I can do what I want. They can't say, I'm going to have a laugh. I'm going to enjoy myself. And that's basically what she's doing. But, she might be mistaken for some kind of demons trying to kill you. When she's not. And I think that's what the trouble when people misinterpret. That's how I feel it's important to get back to the same location.
Yeah.
If you get activity at a location, take I'm always talking about it, but Loud and Kirk, when we first started investigating there, we all picked up on this male down at the back and going back and forward in this one section. And, you know, we picked up on the paranormal exposure that Spig did as well. And we always thought, you know, he's a wrong one, he's a bad one. But the more we investigated there, the more contact we got, and we've managed to establish that, you know, the guy's name's James Dempster, and he was a farmer back in the 1800s. And all basically he's doing, his family's all buried there, and he's just looking after his family. You know, and it doesn't mean anybody any harm. He likes to be called Mr. Dempster. You know, he likes the title Mr. But found that out. And people I think we're nuts because they say, how do we know? But we've had too much evidence point to this, and we've had people witnessed it as well. And you think, well, he's no negative. He's just a normal everyday guy who's looking out for his family. End of, you know. I just came back to where you see you were affected or what have you. I know a lot of people don't believe it can happen, but it can happen to me once, very, very briefly, and I couldn't explain it. But then it wore off about 10. It lasted about 10 minutes or so, and it was gone. But it was just a weird thing. And so you said, what was that? Because we went to Canongate Cup, and as soon as we walked in, we felt we weren't wanted. No negative or any of that. We just knew we weren't wanted there that night, you know. Sarah and I went back to Carrie. I went for a wander, and I came out. But when I came back out, I was absolutely raging. I was furious at nothing. You know, drove away up to Greyfriars. The further I got away from Canongate, the feeling disappeared, and I was totally fine. And so was that the influence of spirit, sort of, you know, wearing off of me. What is it, rubbing off of me, or whatever the expression is. But it can happen.
Yeah, because I arrogantly was very much of it'll never happen to me. I'm a tech guy. I'm a complete skeptic, and it'll never happen to me. And it did. And you know, it was at the time. I wouldn't say it was scary. It was freaky because it was like, what is going on here? I can't explain why I'm suddenly feeling the way I'm feeling. It makes no sense. Logically, it makes no sense. So yeah, and I do think, I mean, going back to what we were talking about earlier about, you know, folk who, you know, are very serious and stuff. When I started out, I was deadly serious. I was, you know, and I wasn't very comfortable doing calling out. The lady that started the group with me, Anna, she was brilliant. She just was so good at it. And I think because she was so good, it made me feel even worse because I was, you know, so bad at it. But now I'm much more relaxed. And I think I activity-wise, because I'm now more relaxed, I get a lot more than and I'm not 100% skeptic. I mean, obviously I'm always looking for logical, but you know, I believe, you know, I believe there's something there now. So it's, you know, in the early days, it was more a case of, well, is there or isn't there? But far too much has happened to me personally for it not, you know, not for there not to be there. But yeah, I think you're right. It can happen.
Going back to you sort of talking about like different things. So the most interesting experience since I've been part of the team was again at Touchwood House, and there's a spirit that we've interacted with a couple of times, and we've actually caught him on audio on a couple of occasions, and I've actually heard him in my ear when again we were just chatting with Susan one night, and we were having a giggle. It was me and Zara that was in the team, and we were just literally chatting, and we were trying to find something, and all of a sudden I heard him, and he's quite posh, and it was hello. And I was like, and I was kind of doing it, and then we all started laughing, and then we were like, oh my God, that's this particular spirit. So we were doing a public investigation at Touchwood, and we were in what was Susan's sitting room, and I didn't realise that I was sitting in Susan's seat. So immediately I was very aware that there was a spirit, a male spirit, that was not happy that I was sitting there because this was Susan's seat. And then very soon afterwards, somebody was sitting in a different chair and actually started to experience kind of like breathing difficulties, was coughing, to the point that I was like, do you need to leave the room? She was like, no, no, it's fine, it's fine. And I was like, well, let's try an experiment, and can someone else sit in that chair? So the next person sat in the chair and they were fine for a wee while. All of a sudden, the breathing difficulties, the coughing, and I'm like, right, okay, so a few more. And I think there was maybe 2 out of the group of however many there was that didn't experience something. But interestingly, Lynn in the group was also quite skeptical. Even she kind of was a bit like, right. So a bit like Liam, I was like, oh, I'll go and sit there, I'll be fine. And I was fine for about 2 minutes, and then sounded like I was in a fire or something. I couldn't breathe. It was really weird, and it was just about this particular seat. So when I spoke to Susan at the break, I said, what's the story? I said, this is really weird. And she said, the particular person that we've caught an audio and we've heard, he actually died of lung cancer. So he might have been giving you his experience. So that was really interesting for it to happen to, multiple people that evening.
That is, it happened not just to one person, but to several people. And I don't believe spirit can put their emotions or their feelings onto you, if they're if they're strong enough to do it. And I don't think probably all the time it's done in a bad way. I think it's maybe done they're just wanting to express how they felt, in their final days or whatever. And it's the only way they know how to do it. And maybe in their final days they weren't able to communicate with people. They weren't able to talk about them. This is the I'm going to try now and see what happens. Can I? But I don't use by what you were saying when you first started out with calling out. I think we were the same. What were we? With calling out when we first started out investigating. Yeah, I think. But my trouble was, anybody knows me, I can talk for Europe, basically. But when we started out, you feel kind of stupid. Well, I did, and I think you're trying to kind of copy Most Haunted and all the rest of it. Well, what did they do? We'll ask that, And I had a really bad habit of asking one question after another, like 2-3 seconds apart. And if somebody says to me a few months in, you need to slow down. They weren't preaching, it was just advice. You need to give spirit time to answer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's when the penny dropped. I thought, why? And they said, well, if you think about it, if somebody asks you about 10 questions within a minute, and it's like, how are you going to answer them all? Well, he says, exactly. And so we started to kind of slow down. As you said, as time went on, your confidence does build up, and you find your own way of just asking questions, just talking to them normally, whatever. But some of the first investigations were a mess. But saying that, we only get 2 or 3 in before the second lockdown came, so we were kind of buggered. What were you, Lindsay, when you started to calling out business and stuff? Did you feel kind of a bit of tube, or were you kind of natural with it?
I just kind of do it, but I think I don't really think about what people in life think of me, so I don't really think about what spirit think of me. So I just kind of did it, and there is that thing sometimes. Like I think when you start, it's a bit like a rabbit in the headlights because you overthink things too much. So rather than just kind of saying things naturally, it's like if you ask when you're out in an event, and we always encourage like active participation. We're like, it's your investigation, so we want you to do it. But sometimes you're there and they're like, I actually can't think of a question, and I'm like, but just keep it very simple. Ask them their name, ask them what the year is. It's that kind of thing. So it's sometimes just kind of like keeping your train of thought and being able to ask us like a sort of sequence of questions, if you like, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. But yeah, even now sometimes I'll be there, and if you're having a flat time, it's fine if you're with the team because like there's not an expectation. But sometimes if you're in an event and if you're asking all these and there's nothing, it's a bit like, okay, I'm going to have to try and think of something else to try and get something going, or it's that kind of slight more pressure. But no, I've always been quite comfortable just doing it.
You see, we don't do events. We looked into doing them a couple of years ago, but we thought, no, stuff, I can't be annoyed. Do you think when you do events, does it put more pressure on you that you're going to get results because of the guests, the people that came along, that they're maybe expecting, like Most Haunted or whatever, they're expecting stones and chairs flying everywhere. Basically, their Most Haunted's got a lot to answer for, I swear to God. But does it put more pressure on you to, I don't know, does it make you worry more in case you don't get any activity?
I always worry. I normally don't sleep very well the night before an event. I normally get extremely stressed out because I just want people to enjoy the night. And if it's flat, you're not going to really enjoy the night. But at the same time, you can't do anything about it. And, it's funny because Lynn, who, is in the group as well, if she's doing the opening speech, I think she normally says to folk, this isn't Most Haunted. We actually tell people at the start of every event, we do not guarantee anything tonight. We can't guarantee, and we won't. We never will. And we make that clear that we will never guarantee that you're going to get anything. And I've done nights at events where it's been fairly quiet, or there's been absolutely nothing at all, and it's it's a struggle, as Lindsay says, you are struggling because you are mindful that people have paid money to come on the event, and you want to be able to at least give them something. But if Spirit doesn't want to play, Spirit's not going to play. But I will say this, if the group are up for it, you normally get something. If you get a group of people who are not up for it, and I've had a few, and I still scratch my head as, why go to a paranormal event if you're not into it? But you then really, really struggle. We did an event at the start of last year, and I had to throw a few of our newbies in at the deep end, and they were, to be fair, they were panicking a bit. They were like, what are we doing wrong? We're getting absolutely nothing. And I said, right, I'll go take the group. And my God, it was just so hard. It was just, even for me, it was just like a real struggle, because the people genuinely, I got the impression, didn't want to be there. And I just couldn't, why are you here? It just doesn't make sense. But yeah, I think if the group are up for it, you normally get something. And thankfully, most of the people that we get are really up for it. And we must be doing something right, because we actually get folk back regularly to our events. And the other thing, we don't charge very much for events. For the most part, the events we're doing are not our events. We're doing it'll be the locations event, and we'll be coming along to do the investigation part of it. Last year was the first time that we did our own event at Castle Fraser, which was brilliant. It was a great night, and really helped by the fact that the National Trust staff got it. They've had other paranormal groups in, so they were up for it. They knew what it was all about, and it made it really easy for us, and it was a great night for most, with a lot of activity. So yeah, it was really, really good. But yeah, I do get them. Yeah, the risk, you can get some pressure.
Yeah, here's like somebody was one of your events. I think the team, Inverness invited me along to touch with one night investigating. I took up the offer. I was nervous, being treated out of a buzz of adrenaline, and there was interaction from the other side. The team are calm, patient, very respectful to the living and deceased. I didn't feel scared. Credit to the team. So there's a good positive feedback.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We need to start collecting testimonials.
I know, right? Why do go if you don't want the experience? Exactly. You know, it sounds like we're putting up a wall of negativity.
Yeah.
Possibly. Well, you know, see, you've got an event and you've got, 20 people come along and, maybe 18 of them are up. I don't know why I'm here, but I'm here anyway. You know, Spirit's going to pick up that. And Spirit might think to say, well, why bother?
Yeah. It can be difficult. I mean, sometimes the presence of one person can affect it. I mean, I had a group not long ago, and this woman, honestly, she was so negative. I really struggled with her. As soon as she came in, I just knew, I just was like, no, she's going to be. And of course, I ended up winning the team, and she just was not interested. And it was a lot more difficult to try and, because she was constantly like, this kind of stuff. And I was like, right. And of course, we have had as well, a group that's come along that's been drunk, which is very difficult, even though we say no alcohol, but when it's not our events, we don't actually have control over that. So that's part of the thing when you're doing things for like charities or other organizations, that it's not really our events. So we just had to kind of do our best we could with that one, didn't we? But it was a bit disappointing because we didn't really get to investigate.
Yeah.
As when you get, we took a woman a couple of years back now. She wanted to come and run an investigation. We said, five things is I want to bring my partner, I want to bring my man with me. She said, well, fine. She said, but he'll probably stand there and laugh at you all night. I said, well, just tell he's not coming then. Yeah. Bottom line is, do not bring him, because we'd either tell me leave or I'd knock him out, one or two. And said, well, no, he's not welcome then. And she came along. And we just got one flash of cat ball that night. We were only there for about 2-3 hours. And I says to her after, I said, look, you kind of felt guilty that nothing had happened. And but I gave the woman her due, I did say, I'm sorry, there wasn't very much going on the night. She said, oh, no, I had a great night, I had a brilliant night. I want to come back and do it again. Mm-hmm. Whereas when you get people that come along, they're hammered or, whatever, you just think, no. It's just not going to happen for us tonight. Mm-hmm. And I think Spirit picks up on that. And they can't be annoyed basically either with idiots or, whatever. But no, Spirit can pick up whether you're confident and genuine. I think, I watched some teams, one in particular that's kind of local to us, and they're just cabbages basically, and the again, renee nameless, but some of the stuff they come out with at their events, it's just bizarre, but people believe it. Mm-hmm. People they done a place down at I think it was East Fortune, down Lothian way, and they says they encountered a Japanese kamikaze pilot that crashed in Greenock, which is the other side of the country. This guy, I don't know, why was Japanese kamikaze pilot in Greenock?
Is he lost?
No, that's it. Do you know what I mean? Well, of course, with, kamikaze pilots, usually it was the Japs and the Americans, no. Greenock going to do it. This is, definitely you.
Not aware of that one.
It's the same team. I've told this story a few times. Met William Wallace up at Craigie Castle, which is like 10 minutes for us. And Wallace has got very, very, very little ties to Craigie Castle. I think he visited or whatever. But they picked up on William Wallace and his horse. His horse was there as well. And people believed this. Perhaps, come on, seriously. It's there's that. Such events to walk from the High Church, the group were all chatting and getting along with each other. It was a great night. The High Church, is that one? That's the one I couldn't get part of. We couldn't get part of it, innit?
Yeah, that's the one. It's got a great history, and it's actually the first location I ever did with Highland Paranormal. It's the first location I ever investigated. So yeah, it's an interesting place with a great history.
That's if you can get into the bugger. That is. But no, I mean, Inverness are so lucky. People say that we're lucky, Glasgow, Ayrshire and what have you. where we are, because historical sites, but Inverness is loaded with them. You know, you've got them everywhere, not just Inverness, but you know, out the bridge and all, and then out towards Near, you got that Geddes Church as well, the one we couldn't find. Is it Geddes?
Geddes Church.
What was the name of that church be?
Geddes, I think.
Geddes.
Geddes.
It's at the back of Nairn.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah.
South of Nairn.
Yeah, I'll have to have a look for that one.
How we found it?
No, we found it.
We found it, we just got loads coming back. That was it. We found it, but we're coming back, we had no idea. We just headed for the lights. You know, the big orange glow that you see, and you know it's a town of some description.
I know there's an old Geddes burial ground graveyard which has got what would have been a church at some point in it, very close to Rate Castle, which is another very haunted place. And I stumbled across it, and yeah, we are lucky. I mean, if we drive about, you kind of stumble across old graveyards, old ruins, and things like that, and we've got so much history. It's just amazing.
I mean, when we were up, we spent the best part of the Thursday just driving about. We were everywhere, basically. Nowhere one side of the bridge and then back out the other side of the bridge, hunting for Highland cows. And the funny thing is, I was after we got home, Sarah discovered that there's Highland cows at Culloden.
I was just going to say Culloden House.
Yeah, I said yeah, Culloden, yeah.
Well, we were in the car park at Culloden, so we didn't know they were just more or less from the other side of the building.
You can't always see them. That's the only ones there. But there's one at Culloden House. Mm-hmm. They're easier to see. The ones at the back at Culloden House are easier to see. I saw a rake of them today, actually, when I was going to Crampton. So
you saw loads of them.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a location that we did, a private location that we did, and they've got their own Highland cow. And I actually passed it today, and the Highland cow was still there. They've got the Highland cow in the front garden, basically.
I don't know what the fascination is. We said it was death. I mean, she wanted a Highland cow, you know, to bring me back a Highland, so we brought her back a wee toy one, obviously. I tried to fit one in the boot, but I just could not fit a real one in the boot. It was the horns, kept jamming the door. So, and the farmer wasn't too happy either, because I'd been in his field and pulling this thing out, you know. You're coming to Kilmarnock, do you know what I mean? But I know Sarah was fascinated with Highland cow. She wanted to see one. She was absolutely gutted that one didn't chap the door or something like that, you know. But it's always next time. Now that we know where they are,
yes,
yeah,
one might go a missing. I mean, you might get reports of a blue Suzuki going down the A9 with a Highland cow tied at the back. You know, they do with horses, the wagons. That's Highland. It's quite a trek for it, but we'll get there eventually. You know what I mean? So what's up next for you guys? What's coming next?
I think your visits are next one. So we might have some private work before that, but yeah, I think your visits the next one, and then we've actually been asked up to what's called the Great Spring Awakening in Goldsby. So it's going to be like a spiritual market. So we've been invited up to that just to have a table and chat with people, show people what we do. We'll take our haunted doll up and whatnot as well, so people can see that. And yeah, so we're looking forward to doing that. Something a bit different we don't normally do. We haven't done that for years. We've kind of gone and just you know, met people without actually doing anything really as such. So that'll looking forward to that. And then, as I said, we're at Pool House after that.
Quite a valid. That's a good thing that we found as well. You said the people we meet in the paranormal, you know, and a lot have remained friends and what have you. And that's one of the things I like about it as well, you know, and meeting teams, going out with teams, learning, you know, giving each other, no advice, but, learning from each other's experiences. Because that's how we all learn in life, with everything else. And stay away from the negativity and all the all that kind of bollocks, because there's no need for it. Do you prefer doing your private investigations to actually just going out and wandering about?
That's a hard one. I mean, because they are different. Your approach is different when you're doing private work. I really enjoy being out with the team. I think the guys are just brilliant, and as Lindsay said earlier, everybody brings something different to the table, kind of thing, and it's a great bunch of people to hang about with. They've all got such a great passion for the paranormal. They've all got their own theories and ideas, and I might be the kind of team leader as such, but there's no real hierarchy as such. It really is just we're just one group of people who just enjoy doing what we do. So probably going out with a team more than anything is. But saying that, when you do private casework and you get results and you make people's lives better from those results, that's a buzz in itself. As well. I mean, as I said, as we touched at the start, I mean, obviously you can't please everybody, and that does. I mean, it kind of puts you on a bit of a downer, and we've had the 2 in a row that have been like that, where I know, especially with the one that we went above and beyond for them, and it's a bit frustrating. You get kind of a bit of a downer for a day or so, and you're kind of moping about, going, well, why am I doing this? Why are we doing this if this is kind of what we're getting, thrown back at us? But you soon pick yourself up and carry on. And as I said, we've got some great locations this year that we're going to go to. And as I said, hopefully we hope to come down. Certainly, we're talking about Edinburgh. We're talking about doing a road trip this year at some point, and trying to get collabs with a couple of other teams.
Well, certainly, we're off to Edinburgh on Wednesday. Actually, we're taking Rosie and our partner through. We're meeting up with Aling and Nicola. We're going through there for the day. Hopefully the weather's going to be, good. But then I like what you said about team-wise, you kind do the general sort of running it. But at the end of the day, everybody's equal. That's actually the same as everybody calls me the gaffer, which I quite like sometimes. You know what I'm saying? No. But don't tell everybody that. But we're all the same. It's when you get these teams, no disrespect to them, but when they give each other titles, and they've got I've watched saw with some of them, and they say, I'm the CEO of, Putney Ghost Hunters or something, whatever. And this is my assistant CEO, and you've got my marketing manager, and you've got this, and you've got that, and there's about 20 people, and they've all got these fancy titles. At the end of the day, they're a paranormal team. That's it. Do you know what I mean? I don't know how you feel about that, the CEO bit and everything. I'm like to all that stuff. What were you guys?
We do have titles, but not not that. I'm not the chief exec or anything like that. I mean, I think we do have lead investigators. We've got investigators.
Aye, that kind of thing. But when you get yourself these big, fancy 10-worded titles and stuff.
Yeah.
If they're running a global for that word, big company.
Yeah. I think part of the reason we have it as well is for when we do events, that if there's one lead investigator in each team, that they know who's the person. If they need to speak to somebody, then that's the person that's leading the group or whatever. But no, I agree. I mean, I think what's interesting about our team is there's 11 of us and we're all quite different, but we actually all like each other. And that's, I think, quite unusual that we actually all get on. There's no egos. There's no, so it's actually fun to spend time, because I know with some it's like, a lot of paranormal teams. I think there's a lot of bitchiness in the paranormal as well. You know, there's that whole like between different teams and like some of the scandal and that you watch online, and you know, some people would tell you their granny's toes haunted to get viewers and stuff like that, and it just makes me laugh. Whereas we actually just kind of like hanging out and you know, a shared interest. But it is interesting, like what you were saying, because I like all three parts. I like doing the private investigations, because you can help people sleep at night. I mean, we had one with children recently, and we've not heard any more. So hopefully, you know, that's been resolved. In terms of the events, I quite enjoy them. I'm not like Liam. I don't get scared about it. I'm just like, I trust in spirit, so I'm like, it's going to be fine. If not, I'll just do my comedy act or something like that. So that's kind of how I approach it. And I do enjoy going out with the team and just hanging out and actually doing some sort of proper investigation. Because oftentimes when you're in the bigger sort of events and stuff, it's not the you know, you don't get the same evidence, for example, if you were out with your team.
It's just something about no egos. That's it. I mean, you get these people that are just out for the fame. And don't get me wrong, you know, if you do a good live or a good show and somebody says, I really enjoyed that show, you know, well, thanks very much. Everybody likes to have a compliment now and again, you know, or you do an event, people say, amazing event, love it, you know, and you know, it's a good we feel, but you get these people that thrive on it, you know, and this is all they're after. They're just after the fame, they're after the TV series and all that bollocks, you know. And why? And as you said, Lindsay, you know, the grannies pulls on to just get some of the crap that I've saw on folk shows that they come out with, you know, and it's just to get viewers, you know. And I mean, there's one lady we saw a couple of weeks. She's still kicking about, unfortunately, but she's been all these different things, many things. One was she was the reincarnation of Maid Marian, you know, and we all know Maid Marian never existed. She was made up, you know, to go with the Robin Hood kind of story. There was a guy, you know, an actual guy who was Robin Hood sort of thing, you know. But there was never a Maid Marian, but she was the reincarnation as Robin. I didn't know you could be reincarnated as somebody that never existed. You know. And then she was a high priestess, an ordained exorcist, a starseed. I don't know if you know what one of them is. You know what a starseed is? No.
No.
A starseed is someone from another planet who's been sent here to save the world, basically. No, I'm not saying
that sounds about right. From another planet.
I know two people who claim to be started. Well, I don't know them personally. I've watched their shows, you know, but they claim to be for another planet. Now, my thinking is America, China, they spent billions about searching for ET. You know, I do believe there is something else out there, but they didn't need to spend all that money. All they had to do was go to Croydon. Because there's one there. And she openly admits, I'm an alien, I was sent here to save the world. Because that's, if you're going to save the world, that's where you start. Croydon. No offense to Croydon, it's a lovely place. You don't start with the government or so, don't just drop in the middle. Bang, there you go. Go and save the world. But it's when they put all this bollocks onto their show and people believe it, and you think, really? You know, how can people not just be their self? Don't take the fame and all the rest, because that's at least they're nothing. And forget the ego, you know, because to me, spirit didn't give a toss, you know, if you're famous or no. You know, you could be an international star or just a wee guy for the Gorbals in Glasgow. Spirit doesn't care. That's just my view. I don't know about your view, guys.
No, I totally agree. I mean, I as one who's been accused in the past of having an ego, you know, it's something that, yeah, it's never interested in me at all. You know, I've been accused, as I said, of having an ego because I come on shows like this, I talk to the press, etc., etc. But I do that for the group. To get the group's name out there and to get our approach out there. And I'm happy for anyone else in the team to do it as well. And in the past,
Mhm.
nobody else wanted to do it, so it was always me. But no, I totally agree. It doesn't sit well, and there's a lot of YouTubers and that you watch, and it's all about them. It's not about the location. It's not about the spirit. It's about them. And I just have no time where that comes from. So yeah, um, no, not a fan of not a fan of the ego. Everybody knows what I think of Zach. Um, he's probably got the biggest ego in the paranormal world. But yeah, it's and as I said, it's what's good about our group. There isn't that.
What about you, Lindsay, with the ego chasers, or whatever you call them?
I think there are some sort of people that have shows, for example, that I enjoy watching. Like I enjoy the Scottish Paranormal stuff. I know that group, and I like how they work and stuff like that. Not so keen on Chris Fleming that spirit climbs up his bum and stuff like that. So that kind of, but I enjoy the investigative approach from Scottish Paranormal. But a lot of the time, yeah, I'm not interested in like. There's a couple that were together that are now split up, and even now there's like mentions of each other on their lives, and it's like we don't care about that. We just want to know about what you're investigating and stuff. But I mean, even when they came up here, some of the stuff they were coming out with, and it's the clickbait as well. I'm not a fan of that. Oh, you need to come and see this. We've caught this, and then you go and there's nothing. Like one of the things that they had was they were in Zante, and there's a shipwreck, and apparently it's from people trying to smuggle like tobacco and booze and stuff like that, and they made up this big narrative about the ghosts in it and everything like that. And it's it's that kind of stuff I don't like, because it's disingenuous, and I want to know about actually facts about something's history, or that kind of thing. I'm not a fan of the clickbait and the give us stars, that kind of thing. I'm not really a fan of.
I think I know the couple you're referring to. I'm not going to. They shall remain nameless. But I think the name of the group had 3 words in it.
Yep.
I know the why they were 2 of the biggest clowns on the planet. Seriously, the word cucumber comes to mind. The pair of them, the 2 of them couldn't slice a cucumber between them. But everywhere they went, they got activity and all the rest of it. Thankfully. Sounds bad. Thankfully, they've split up. But it's interesting. You say to me about people have accused you of having an ego because you do shows like this. I don't see that. How could that possibly be you having an ego? I mean, we've done over 500 of these, and we do them because we enjoy meeting people, and because we learn. We have a good laugh. It's laid back and what have we. When we first started it, we never intended to do these, but say we started it just before the second lockdown came. So we thought, well, bang, we're locked in, we can't go anywhere. What can we do? So we and I came up with the idea, we'll just talk to people. We'll try the point, the show thing, and it worked really well. It's got nothing to do with having an ego or anything. You're talking about yourself, obviously. You just do it because you like doing it and talk to people.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I'm passionate about it, and I'm passionate about the group. I'm passionate about the paranormal, and the thing is, actually, I'm not naturally an outgoing person. I would always shy away from public stuff before, but if people, I'm passionate about it. I'm happy to do it from that point of view. And I think it's something. The group, we want to be active. We regularly post on social media. We've got a friends group as well, so we do other things like well-being walks now. So we do a walk. We'll be starting them again once a month once the weather gets better, where it's not really about the paranormal, but it's a group of people that have come together because of the paranormal. And we'll go to places like Culloden Battlefield, which we'll never investigate because of what it is and because the National Trust don't want you to. but we will walk around it. We'll tell a bit of history. We'll go to another location. We'll have a walk around again. If we've got some history on it, we'll talk about the history of it as well. So, yeah, we've got a group, but we've also got a kind of family of people as well now who, beyond the group, who regularly come to our meets. A few of them are on here tonight as well, and we try to, I suppose, give them something a little extra for their support as well. So, I mean, as I said, the wellbeing walks are free. We don't charge for them. We also, last year we did one investigation where we basically just said, right, guys, you want to come along and investigate with us? Come along and investigate with us.
All right.
So, yeah. But yeah, you're right. It's all about meeting people, and that's probably more than anything. Is I've been so lucky to meet so many wonderful people doing this, you know, and it has certainly changed me as a person, you know, in the 13, 14 years now I've been doing it. I totally different person to what I was when I started doing this, totally in so many different ways.
You did.
Yeah.
You hit it in the head. You know, you do meet so many different people, and it's people that you would probably never ever have spoke to if you hadn't started doing this. But you know, these 2 points. You know, you said the press wanted to talk to you. But to me, again, that's not you. I mean, you're living in the rest. No offence, it's not a massive, metropolitan, whatever, big massive city. Do you know what I mean? And you do a lot. So what? You know, these are popular. Word gets round, so if the French want to come and have a wee word with you, then it's because somebody's, talked about you or whatever, and they want to find out. It's nothing to do with having an ego and all that bollocks, you know what I mean? And but you say, doing these shows as well, and being the fact, I mean, we've met people we would never have met in our total, in our life, and I've interviewed some big people, yourselves included, major people there down there, But I mean, let's see, Patty Negri, David Espert, Craig Arms, all the actors in their movies, and these are people you would see them on TV, but you would never get to. I know we've got David Espinosa, he's on board for our Wallace Trail. Again, which is something, and we're not doing that to be famous or to be special, we're doing it because it's a major part of Scottish history. Mm-hmm. But this is something we would never have put together if we hadn't been doing the paranormal. If somebody gives you a wee bit of recognition, then fine. Happy days. I mean, just for the way that we've got a wee local show having in one day after the school run, and this guy turned around and says to me, you're the guy in the telly. No. He says, I was watching you last night. I said, no, but he says, you were on the YouTube, the paranormal stuff. I thought, all right. I said, I was watching your show last night. And this was just me randomly getting a show. And so I came out, I was going back to the cat.
Famous.
Recognised. I'm back to try and find a pen. I thought, I'll get a pen. But the guy was already gone. Running after him with a pen. Come on. I'll sign your shirt. But, it's stuff like, that happens in the street. Somebody recognises you, like, that was nice. But you forget, you move on. But you get these cucumbers out there that, I get recognised. I'm a major celeb now. I've made it. Bollocks. No, you know. Somebody recognised your face. Probably have a crime watch or something. You're sneaky. Do you know what I mean? But, I mean, that day, I usually, you're chuffed for a few minutes, but then that's it. Mm. You carry on. But, you get these fame eaters and they just want to start doing there. But I think we'll wind up here, guys. That's an hour and a half we've been on. So I need to bring these back again because I could talk for absolutely hours, you know what I mean? But I'll keep a hold of you for a wee couple of seconds after we come off, if that's all right. If you get anything to say to anybody watching, where can they find you? Was it apart from Inverness? Where can they look you up?
Not on my dating profiles.
So stay off with all the. You're on quite a few of them ones,
No, it's an in-joke between somebody that came in one of our investigations.
Right, okay.
I'll not explain. But thank you. It's been nice to come on and chat.
Always is, always is. So where can we find you?
You can find me Facebook, Highland Paranormal, or on the web, again, just our website's highlandparanormal.org. And thanks, it's been lovely to come on again, Scott. And thanks to everyone for joining tonight. Said it's always a pleasure to come on and chat with you, so look forward to next time. And we will do one way or another, when you're up here, we'll do a live.
One way, that's a Blondie song. My gran was in the Blondie, God rest her. Yeah, she was right. She was a Blondie fan. She was about 3'2", my wee gran, but she was right into Blondie. I could never figure it out, you know. But a bit of useless information there. But no, we will. But I say, I feel hold you after we go. So that's it. So big thanks to Lindsay and Neil for coming in, folks. It's always great to talk to them, and you will be seeing them again. We're out tomorrow night at Loudon Kirk. So it's great to see you again. Great show. Thanks, Weirdo.
Nice.
We have Rosie Cardy and our partner Andre for Ghoul Gang. They're arriving here tomorrow morning. So they're staying with us for a week. So we're out at Loudon Kirk tomorrow night to do a wee investigation. Tuesday is Rosie's birthday. Now, I had to tell her, but we're doing. So if you're free, actually, any two of you are welcome to come on. We're doing a live on Tuesday night with Rosie from here for her birthday. And we've got Eileen and Nicola coming on. And we've got Brian Laffey coming in, Rigger for Spig. He's coming on as well. So if you're free, you're welcome to join. Just a wee happy birthday for Rosie since she'll be here. But we're going to wind up there, folks, and we'll be live tomorrow night at Loudon. Signal permit, but the signal's usually quite good. I don't know how you found. We found the signal was crap in Inverness.
Depends
on
on
it was.
Depends on your network.
We're with Tesco.
See, I think O2 is one of the, or like, there's a couple of networks that are generally better. What network are you, Liam?
I'm O2.
Yeah, I think O2 is probably the best one. For up here.
O2 and Vodafone. Well, what was
Vodafone? It used to be that, yeah.
It used to be that too.
Crap. Absolute crap. Sorry. But we'll wind up there, folks, and thanks for coming in. Again, thanks to these two lovely individuals, and we'll talk to you again soon. All right. Enjoy your evening. I was left it. Bye.